We could probably describe the D&O market currently as a transitioning market. From 2003 until 2018, there's about 15 years of continuous softening. And that was caused by a lot of new capacity coming into the market. There was broadening coverage, rates were falling, and line sizes were growing. We saw markets putting out 15 million, 20 million, 25 million lines, even 50 million lines sometimes. At the same time, we saw litigation trends evolving. We saw an increase in US class actions. We saw class actions coming from countries that previously hadn't seen class actions, such as Canada and Australia. We saw claims evolving from what were previously seen as benign territories, such as Denmark, South Africa, Brazil, Colombia, for example. As the market softened further, we saw inadequate reserves across the market, and those large line sizes that we saw caused a huge correction in 2018 and 2019. In 2020, we saw the outbreak of COVID, which really was an accelerating factor to the hardening market in D&O. There was some real fear as to what COVID meant for the D&O market, with the fear especially around increased bankruptcies. As a result of the hardening of the market and increased rates, that obviously attracted new entrants into the market in 2021 and 2022. As a result of those new entrants, in the past 12 to 18 months, we've seen pronounced downward pressure on rates, but from a very high peak. However, I think we are now seeing some early signs of stabilisation. Rates are still negative, but I think we're seeing some slight slowing of those rate decreases. For now, limits management remains. Most carriers aren't getting back into putting those big line sizes out again. I think it should also be remembered that D&O is a long tail class. It can take 5 or 10 years for claims to come through. D&O is also a very fast moving and evolving class. New exposures arise all the time, such as increased bankruptcies, inflation, interest rates, for example. All of these things could manifest themselves into new D&O exposures. That's why clients and brokers should think carefully about their D&O carrier. Hiscox has been here for 10 years now and paid over $250 million of claims. We're committed to the long term.
D&O trends are dominated by 3 key themes. The first relate to transactions, the second concern claims, and the third relate to rates. Now, with regards to transactions, over the past few years, we've seen an increase in the number of SPACs and de-SPACs, but at the same time, we've witnessed a reduction in the number of IPOs, but this seems to be gradually changing. Now, secondly, with regards to claims, we've witnessed an increase in the number of bankruptcy-related claims against D&Os. Thirdly, with regards to rates, the last few years saw the market in a hardened phase, but we're gradually returning to what I call a more sustainable level of rates.
Hiscox's D&O appetite today is largely US focused, so for companies domiciled in the US and listed in the US, or those companies that are listed in the US but headquartered in another country. That piece will never change. Australia is also a key territory for us. It makes up a really big proportion of our portfolio. In terms of attachment point, our book is primarily focused on primary and first excess. In terms of sector, we have lots of business in the biotech and technology space, but we have a broad appetite in general. We can also consider accounts going through transactions such as IPOs and de-SPACs, and those that are also more difficult to place, such as companies emerging from Chapter 11 bankruptcies.
D&O is an interesting class because it's always newsworthy, whether that be within the insurance sector itself or something you may be underwriting can often end up on the front page of the FT or the Wall Street Journal, be that for good or bad. As D&O underwriters, we get to meet interesting CFOs and CEOs at huge, significant companies that have a lot of influence in the world. And we get to see clients through their journey from a private company or a unicorn through their IPO and hopefully as they become an established public company. At Hiscox, we get to see a glimpse of the future in terms of where the next blockbuster drug may be coming from or new technology that might help shape our lives. It's a great class with a lot of good people in the market and a class that's always relevant.
Hiscox's D&O continues to stand out in the market through our claims experience. Of course, it's not just paying the claims, it's how the claims were handled and the insight our claims team are able to provide to our clients in that process. We have a consistent presence in the market cycle and can fill difficult spots on programs where needed. We have the ability to underwrite complex issues, and this is because we have empowered underwriters who are supported by management. Our brokers often comment on our level of service, be that turning a quote around quickly, being available for a quick call, or just a simple decline. It's a case of doing the basics and doing them well, be that travelling, attending client meetings or events together. Having the strong Hiscox brand also helps us to stand out, and we travel to meet local brokers and clients to make sure that Hiscox is always at the forefront of their minds.